Welcome back to Explain America. This is your host, Kyle Becker. Well, we have a bombshell report about that Iowa superintendent. He is an illegal alien who has been on the run. ICE said he is from Guyana, and there has been an active fugitive deportation order on him since May 2024. But it gets even worse because, well, this man, Dr. Ian Andre Roberts, well, he's caught up in an election scandal of sorts, and we're going to break that down because it has huge implications. You're not going to want to miss this. But before we do, please like, share, and comment at Explain America. Join us. We appreciate your support for common sense journalism. Now, Dr. Ian Andre Roberts was popping up in the headlines earlier this week for it being discovered that he's an illegal alien. That's right. He was running a public school in Des Moines, Iowa, Dr. Ian Andre Roberts. And this man is now on the run. He was busted with weapons and cash. And it turns out that there's an election scandal involved in this. It turns out that he was receiving a mail-in ballot from Maryland while he was in Iowa. Absolutely ridiculous. It just goes to show that this is much more widespread than people think. These radical activists, they don't have any respect for our laws. Heck, they broke the law coming into the country to begin with. What makes anybody think they're going to respect our election laws? Or the Democratic Party, for that matter, because they allow them to come into the country to get all sorts of federal health benefits, which the Trump administration and the Republicans in Congress are trying to put an end to. And the Democrats are out there begging for health insurance and benefits for illegal aliens. Well, it's because of guys like Dr. Ian Andre Roberts, who are core constituents, who are radicalizing students in our public schools. And it is unacceptable, to say the very least. But this story shows that leftists are exploiting mail-in ballots to vote illegally in our elections, whether it be their so-called undocumented, which of course that's a deceptive weasel word because documentation isn't the problem. It's the law that's the problem. And Ian Andre Roberts is proving that. Well, he has corrupted the minds of the youth in Des Moines. That was on full display on Tuesday when students there held a walkout in support of Dr. Roberts. And let's go to the video because, you know, it says a lot.
On your screen right now, live pictures of students walking out of North High School in Des Moines, Iowa, rallying behind a superintendent recently detained by ICE. We are told that some middle schoolers were also brought over to join in the walkout. This happening about an hour after Dr. Ian Roberts resigned his position. He was accused and is accused of being in the United States illegally with a past gun charge and probably a current gun charge as well, and was given a final order for removal last year. Let's bring in Iowa Republican Senator Joni Ernst. Senator, how does this happen?
Oh my gosh, John. Okay, so this is hypocrisy at its best. We have an illegal alien who has been allowed to exist here in the United States even after a final deportation order. And not only that, but hold a very prominent position with the Des Moines public school system as their superintendent. And he also had that previous gun charge, as you mentioned, and now has another gun charge, $3,000 cash, just floating around in a school vehicle and a hunting knife. So yes, it is hard to understand why the left is supporting this gentleman when he has broken so many laws here in the United States of America.
We should point out that it is a federal offense for a person who's in the country illegally to be in possession of a weapon.
Yes.
As you point out, there's that charge from back in 2020 and likely another charge because when he was detained last week, he had that loaded weapon in his car.
Well, Dr. Roberts, when he was confronted by ICE, he fled to his car and sped off. And he then abandoned his car and fled on foot. But federal agents found him in some shrubbery. I don't know if you're a Monty Python fan, but I find that amusing. And took him into custody. Agents found a loaded handgun and a fixed blade hunting knife in Roberts' vehicle. And of course, he has been corrupting the youth there in Des Moines. They've obviously been radicalized along with the teachers that he's brought on board to corrupt the minds of our youth with partisan politics. So it's really no wonder. It's like, Dr. Roberts' case is a microcosm of everything wrong with public schools. And of course, let's take a look at somebody who has a lot to do with that politicization of our public schools. That is American Federation of Teachers head Randy Weingarten, who probably should resign at this point because she's making obscene, partisan, ahistorical, ignorant, ridiculous statements about the President of the United States and his administration. And this comes in the aftermath of the Charlie Kirk assassination. So we don't know what's going on with Randy Weingarten, but let's take a look at this because she says that she now wears a paperclip because teachers wore paperclips when there was a Nazi occupation in Norway. Let's watch.
There is a reason why in Norway, when the Nazis took over Norway, that's why I'm wearing this paperclip. I wear two things now. The American flag, nobody can take patriotism away from me, and a paperclip. What did the teachers in Norway do when there was the Nazi occupation? They started wearing paperclips.
Randy Weingarten, you know exactly what you're doing. This type of vitriol and ahistorical pseudo-analysis of Nazi Germany is beyond the pale, because what we saw with Nazi Germany is not only the eradication of millions of people, including Jews and Slavs and Roma, but they started a war in collusion with Stalin, who was the head of the Soviet Union at the time. They made a Nazi-Soviet aggression pact, and tens of millions of people were killed because of that. Now, can you show me anything Donald Trump has done akin to that? No. In fact, it's the exact opposite. He's been trying to bring peace to the world. There is nothing as scandalous as what happened under the Biden regime as what happened with Donald Trump. Biden, let's not forget, censored millions of Americans for expressing their thoughts about the 2020 election, about COVID, about the war overseas in Europe. And that censorship, we know, has been admitted by Google and Meta and YouTube and the former regime under Twitter. So this is just ludicrous. There are no concentration camps. There are no trains coming, or there's no Kristallnacht. We're seeing political violence out of the radical left. So it's the exact opposite of your twisted, distorted version of reality. I know why you're doing this, because you need a boogeyman. You need to scare people into supporting the Democratic Party because they stand for nothing. The Democratic Party only stands against opposition, and they are trying to hold together this very loose, assorted coalition of identity groups that otherwise don't have anything in common. So they have to use divisive and partisan rhetoric. They need to scapegoat their enemies. They need to accuse them of racism, even though people are not racist in general. People are not walking around saying black people are inferior to white people or Latinos are inferior to, Polish Americans and all of that. That's not happening in this country, okay? This needs to be a wake-up call for anybody on the left out there. This is a playbook. It is a very cynical and contrived and inauthentic and insincere playbook that power-hungry people are abusing to spread division and to hold together a loose coalition of fellow travelers who otherwise have nothing in common. And the only thing they want is power. That's the only thing they want. And they will say anything and do anything to get it. So what do you think happens after they get it? You ask yourself that. People who are willing to lie and spread propaganda like Randy Weingarten here, in the aftermath of the Charlie Kirk assassination, no less, what did the assassin, Tyler Robinson, allegedly write on his bullet casing? Catch this, fascist? Where do you think he got this idea from? Could it be from the Democrats spreading this myth that Donald Trump is a fascist? Let me break this down for you, because there are a lot of historically ignorant people out there, or intellectually dishonest, and or both. But fascism is about state control of economy and society and using politics to eliminate your enemies. We're not seeing that with Donald Trump. There are elections that keep going. Donald Trump had an opportunity during January 6, 2021 to invoke the military to try to claim the power. But what did he do? He legally filed election objections. He wanted more security in January 6th. Look it up in the Pentagon IG report. His Secretary of Defense betrayed his trust and didn't secure it. We had the DC Mayor Muriel Bowser turning down support, and you know, you can have that documented too. Like, you can go to X and see what she in the past had put out and tweeted, and she possibly perjured herself in testimony, by the way. And so where is this at in this country? Well, you have to have some historical context for what the Democrats are doing. They're pushing big lies. They don't really stand for anything. They just stand in opposition. It's propaganda 101. Look it up. The True Believer by Eric Hoffer, for example. It's the most effective type of propaganda, and that's why the Democrats keep doing it. So don't fall for it. If you happen to be on the left and you run into this video and for some reason decide to watch it, we can be optimistic. We can hope that you can hear the other side, but we have over half of left-leaning Americans justifying murder of their political enemies at this point. So it is getting to a critical stage, and we hope that you reach out to anybody on the left and try to convince them that they're really being inhumane and over the top, and they need to come back from their left-wing bubble. Don't just watch MSNBC. Don't just watch CNN. You know, spread your views around. Don't just watch us, obviously, but we do appreciate your support, and thank you for watching Explain America.